You know, usually when you tackle a massive landscaping project, there is this really profound moment of satisfaction right when the main event is over.
Oh, absolutely. That moment of relief.
Right. You hear that, like, final echoing thud as a massive dead tree finally hits the ground.
Yeah, the chainsaw gets turned off.
Exactly. The silence kind of rolls back in, and you dust off your hands and just think, done. The problem is solved.
Which is, frankly, a complete illusion.
Yeah, and that's exactly why we're here today. Because our deep dive today into this hidden world of tree maintenance reveals that the moment you haul that trunk away is actually the exact moment the real danger to your property begins.
It really is. You look at that flat stump and think the story is over.
Wow.
But beneath the surface, a massive biological and mechanical cascade is just getting started.
Okay, let's unpack this. Welcome to today's deep dive. We are so thrilled to have you with us because today's topic is honestly one of those hidden in plain sight hazards.
It really sneaks up on you.
It does. So we are pulling insights from a stack of articles from El Monte Tree Service, which is a company based in Southern California. And our mission for you today is to explore this surprisingly high-stakes, largely invisible world of tree maintenance and, well, stump removal.
Yeah, we're going to look beneath the soil line, literally, to understand the mechanical, biological, and even the aerodynamic reasons why leaving a tree stump in your yard is basically leaving a ticking time bomb on your property.
Right, because I think a lot of people, myself included, before reading this view, a leftover stump, like a, I don't know, little wooden tombstone for the tree that used to be there.
Right, just a harmless marker.
Yeah, a bit unsightly maybe, but essentially harmless. And honestly, looking at these insights initially, I found myself kind of pushing back.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I kept thinking, wait, can't we just let nature take its course? Like wood rots eventually? Why is there such a massive urgency to get it out of the ground?
Well, so the timeline of natural decay is exactly the problem here,
Yeah.
especially when you factor in geography.
Okay, how so?
I mean, if you were managing an undisturbed forest somewhere, leaving a stump to rot over 5 to 10 years is perfectly fine.
Right, nature does its thing.
Exactly. The broader ecosystem can absorb that slow breakdown. But in a residential yard or a corporate business park in a warm climate like Southern California,
Yeah, you don't really have a balanced ecosystem there.
you don't. What you have is a highly active, highly concentrated biological magnet sitting, right next to human infrastructure.
Wow, so the warm climate actually turns that slow decay into a massive liability.
It accelerates the vulnerability of the wood. As that stump slowly breaks down over half a decade, it creates this absolute paradise for destructive pests.
We're talking bugs.
Big time. Termites, carpenter ants, wood-boring beetles, they just zero in on that decaying cellular structure.
Yikes.
And they don't just stop by for a quick snack. They establish incredibly robust colonies deep inside the wood because it's dark, it's moist, and it's protected.
So it's not a tombstone at all. It's basically an all-you-can-eat biological buffet right in the middle of your yard.
That's a perfect way to put it. And here's the thing. Those pests do not respect property lines.
Oh, I bet they don't.
This is the crucial biological mechanism people miss. A termite colony operates on constant expansion.
Right.
Once they exhaust the nutritional value of that stump, or, simply when the population grows too large for that specific piece of wood, they send out scouts.
Oh, no. To the house.
Exactly. They build these subterranean mud tubes through your yard to forage for new cellulose. And frequently, the next largest source of dead wood is the structural framing of a nearby home.
Or a commercial office building.
Right.
So by doing nothing, you are essentially inviting a termite colony onto your property, giving them a 5-year staging ground, and just hoping they don't notice your living room 20 feet away.
Pretty much. And it isn't just insects either. There is an entirely microscopic war happening in the soil as well.
Okay, wait. What do you mean by microscopic war?
Well, a decaying stump is essentially a battery for harmful fungi and soil diseases. Things like root rot just thrive on decaying organic matter.
Ooh, okay.
But here is the truly fascinating part. The fungus doesn't just stay isolated at the stump.
Because of the roots.
Yes. The dead tree still has this vast subterranean root system stretching outward, and it's often totally interwoven with the roots of the healthy plants in your yard.
Oh, wow. It's like a subterranean highway.
Exactly like a highway. The fungal pathogens use those decaying roots as a direct transit system. They travel along the dead root network until they literally bump into the healthy root system of a neighboring tree.
So you could easily lose a perfectly healthy, mature shade tree on the complete opposite side of your lawn.
just because of a fungal disease that incubated in the stump you ignored years ago.
That is just wild to think about. The dead tree actively takes down the living ones.
It does.
And speaking of roots, I was completely blown away by the concept of zombie trees in these.
Oh yeah, the zombie trees.
Because some of these species absolutely refuse to accept defeat. You cut the trunk down, but trees like the ficus or the elm and a bunch of invasive species, they have root systems that are so aggressive they just keep trying to regenerate.
Right. It is a desperate survival mechanism. The root system still has all this stored energy.
Yeah.
So if you leave the stump intact, it will start pushing these tiny leafy sprouts up from the base of the cut wood. Or even worse, it forces sprouts up through the grass from lateral roots stretching far across your lawn.
And while a tiny sprout sounds harmless, maybe even a little cute.
They're not cute.
No, these sprouts are actively siphoning vital water and nutrients away from the surrounding grass and the gardens that you actually want to cultivate.
Exactly.
You end up in this endless, frustrating loop of walking around your yard with shears, constantly clipping back these persistent little zombie sprouts week after week.
Yeah, and at that point, you might think about chemical rotting as a shortcut to just deal with it.
Right. I've seen those bottles at the hardware store.
Huh. Sure, consumer chemical stump removers take about 4 to 8 weeks to break down the wood. But while that is faster than natural decay, it is really only advised for remote wooded areas.
Places where there's 0 foot traffic.
Right, and no nearby structures. In a residential setting, even a 4 to 8 week delay leaves you entirely exposed to those underground biological threats we just talked about.
Not to mention the physical dangers.
Exactly. The immediate physical danger sitting right on the surface.
So the underground is a biological buffet. The surface is basically a landscaping landmine.
A perfect analogy.
Let's talk about that physical space. Because the danger isn't just microscopic or bug-related.
No, stumps are notorious trip hazards, and the main reason is they do not stay highly visible for long.
Right, grass grows.
Yeah, within a matter of weeks, fast-growing weeds and grass just shoot up around the base of the wood. The stump becomes completely camouflaged from view.
And that is where the financial and legal risks just skyrocket for you.
Absolutely.
If a postal worker or a neighbor or just a kid trips over that hidden stump on your property you like, the homeowner or the commercial property manager can be held directly liable for their medical expenses.
And we aren't just talking about a scraped knee here.
No, we are talking about broken ankles and massive premises liability lawsuits.
It's a tremendous risk to carry for absolutely no benefit.
Seriously.
And it goes beyond just walking traffic, too. Groundskeepers face daily hazards with these hidden obstacles. Mowing a lawn with embedded, camouflaged stumps is incredibly dangerous.
Oh, I can only imagine what it does to the mower.
Well, think about it. A standard riding lawnmower blade spins at thousands of revolutions per minute.
Right.
If that high-speed metal blade makes direct contact with the solid block of hardened wood, the kinetic energy transfer is incredibly violent.
It probably destroys the landscaping equipment instantly.
Oh, destroys the mower deck, bends the crankshaft, and honestly, worse than that, the impact can shatter the hardened wood.
Oh, like shrapnel.
Exactly like shrapnel. It turns the stump into dangerous wooden splinters, launching them at high speeds across the yard.
Okay, so clearly leaving it is a terrible idea. The stump has to go.
Without a doubt.
But here's where I need to play the skeptic for a minute.
Okay, go for it.
Because I have seen countless videos online of people trying to save a few bucks. They wrap a heavy towing chain around a stump, attach the other end to the trailer hitch of their pickup truck, and just, hit the gas.
Oh boy. Yes, the classic DIY truck pull.
Right. So if I have a truck with 300 horsepower, why on earth do I need to hire a professional tree service to do this?
Simply because people vastly underestimate the unseen physics of a root system.
The unseen physics.
Yeah. When you try to yank a stump out with a truck, you are fighting an unpredictable underground anchor. You're dealing with multi-directional static friction and the immense tensile strength of living or, recently living wood.
So it's not just a wooden peg sitting loosely in soft dirt.
Far from it. This is where local botanical knowledge becomes so critical. Different tree species have distinctly different architectural root structures.
Right.
A professional understands which trees, say those native to the El Monte or Pasadena area, produce deep taproots.
That a taproot is.
It's like an iceberg. It drives straight down into the bedrock to anchor the tree.
Oh, wow.
While other species develop these expansive surface roots that spiderweb out in a massive 20-foot radius, just intertwining with everything in their path.
So if you just hit the gas on your truck, you aren't just pulling up a localized chunk of wood, you are pulling on a massive subterranean net.
You are going to rip up everything those roots have grown around over the last 20 years.
Oh, man.
That means ripping up essential underground utilities, shattering PVC irrigation lines, and completely destroying hardscaping features like concrete pathways or retaining walls.
Because the roots are wrapped around all of it.
Right. The root system will hold on to thousands of pounds of compacted dirt.
And that's assuming the truck actually wins the tug of war.
Exactly, and often it doesn't. The truck applies linear force, but the roots have multi-directional grip. So the heavy metal chain acts like a rubber band under extreme tension.
Oh, I see where this is going.
Yeah, when the tensile strength of the chain is exceeded before the roots give way, that chain snaps.
Yikes.
All that stored kinetic energy releases instantly, usually whipping straight back to smash the rear window of the truck or, frankly, causing severe personal injury.
Okay, so DIY is a complete recipe for disaster, broken windows, and ruined lawns.
Absolutely.
So how do the professionals actually get this thing out of the ground safely without causing a massive crater? Because looking at the sources, we are looking at two main professional methods: complete excavation versus stump grinding.
Right. And understanding the mechanical difference between those two is vital. Complete excavation involves bringing in heavy earth-moving tractors to physically rip the entire root ball out of the earth.
Which sounds incredibly destructive to the surrounding yard.
It is entirely disruptive to the soil ecology. I mean, it takes 3 to 6 hours of heavy digging, and it leaves a massive gaping crater in your yard.
Yeah, that sounds awful.
Plus, you then have to pay to truck in new topsoil just to backfill the hole and level the ground again.
So who even uses that method?
Excavation is really only ideal for major commercial construction sites, like where developers are about to pour deep concrete foundations and they cannot afford to have any decaying organic material left deep in the soil to create air pockets later on.
Right, that makes sense. But for residential lawns, public parks, or corporate business parks, stump grinding seems to be the strongly preferred method, right?
Real far.
It's vastly more precise, and it usually takes just 1 to 3 hours.
Yes, and the machinery used for stump grinding is just a marvel of specialized engineering. Technicians use heavy equipment fitted with high-speed, rotating putting discs.
And the sources mention they have special teeth on them.
Right. The edges of these discs are lined with carbide teeth, which is an incredibly hard material capable of shredding solid wood. Instead of pulling the stump out, they systematically pulverize the main body of the wood right where it sits.
Oh, so they just chew it up.
Exactly, turning it into chips while leaving the surrounding soil structure completely undisturbed.
Okay, but here's where I found myself completely confused at first.
Yeah.
I learned that technicians usually only grind the stump down about 4 to 6 inches below the existing soil line. My immediate thought was, wait a minute. We just talked about those aggressive zombie trees like the ficus and elm.
Oh, right, the regenerators.
Yeah. If you only grind a few inches down and leave all those deep subterranean roots untouched in the ground, won't the tree just regenerate? Why doesn't it just act like a weed and grow back?
It's actually brilliant how this works, because this is exactly where the biology of the tree intersects perfectly with the mechanics of the machinery.
Okay, lay it on me.
Grinding 4 to 6 inches below the soil line isn't just an arbitrary depth to make it visually disappear under the grass. That specific depth targets and destroys a very specific anatomical structure called the root collar.
The root collar. What exactly is happening in that 4 to 6 inch zone?
The root collar is the biological command center of the tree. It is the critical transition zone where the vascular system of the trunk, the phloem and xylem that transport water and nutrients, merges into the root system.
So it's like a central hub.
Exactly. It essentially acts as the central nervous system for regeneration. By using those carbide teeth to completely pulverize that specific junction, You are permanently severing the communication and energy transfer for the entire network.
Oh, wow. So you were basically cutting the head off the snake.
That's exactly what it is. Once that root collar is shredded, the tree cannot generate those tiny leafy sprouts anymore.
So all those remaining roots.
Those remaining subterranean lateral roots that are still buried deep under your lawn, they are now completely cut off from their biological engine. They can't sprout, they can't grow.
They're just dead wood now.
Right. They'll just sit there and harmlessly decompose underground over the coming years, slowly turning back into soil without you ever having to dig a massive crater to extract them.
That is just brilliant. You literally use the tree's own biological limitations against it.
It's very efficient.
But that leaves a very practical question for you. Now that the stump has been pulverized into thousands of pieces by this heavy machinery, what happens to all the debris?
Well, that brings us to the concept of the closed-loop ecosystem.
Okay.
After the grinding process, you are left with a large mound of fine wood chips thoroughly mixed with the surrounding topsoil. Historically, people would bag all that up and pay a fee to have it hauled away to a commercial landfill.
Which seems like a waste.
It is, because there is a much more environmentally and economically beneficial option, repurposing those wood chips directly on site as mulch.
I love this part. I actually circled this in my notes as the most satisfying irony of the whole process.
It really is, isn't it?
Yeah. The very hazard that was threatening your yard, like the trip hazard, the termite magnet, the ugly decaying wood, is mechanically transformed into the exact medicine your garden needs to thrive.
Absolutely.
And especially in the dry climate of Southern California, mulch is absolute gold.
Oh, it is fundamental to property care. Spreading a thick layer of these freshly ground wood chips around your flower beds or garden pathways or even the bases of your remaining healthy trees does three critical things at the soil level.
Okay, what are they?
First, it acts as a thermal blanket, drastically reducing water evaporation from the sun, which is, essential during local droughts.
Right.
Second, it heavily suppresses invasive weed growth by physically blocking sunlight from reaching weed seeds in the dirt.
Oh, nice.
And third, as those wood chips slowly break down over the next year, beneficial soil microbes convert that carbon-rich wood into vital organic nutrients, feeding it back into the earth.
So just a perfect closed-loop biological system.
Yes.
And beyond the biological benefits, there is a massive financial benefit here regarding curb appeal. A clear yard instantly elevates real estate value.
Right? Oh, for sure. First impressions dictate everything in real estate.
Yeah, if a potential home buyer or a commercial real estate appraiser walks onto a property and sees a jagged, rotting stump on the front lawn,
it immediately signals operational neglect.
Right. It suggests the current owner doesn't keep up with maintenance. Appraisers will actually deduct the estimated cost of stump removal from the property's overall valuation.
They absolutely do.
But by grinding it down, you clear the canvas. You can instantly plant new grass, put in a garden bed, or lay a patio right over the exact spot where the tree used to be.
It restores the full utility of your land. But understanding how to remove a stump leads us to a much bigger question about proactive property care.
Okay, yeah. Like preventing the problem in the first place.
Exactly. How do we prevent healthy, mature trees from becoming hazardous stumps in the first place? Nobody wants to cut down a beautiful, mature shade tree unless it is absolutely necessary for safety.
That's a great point. I always assumed you only really knew a tree was dying when the leaves fell off and it looked bare.
A lot of people think that.
But there have to be earlier structural signs before it gets to the point of total failure, right? And the way to avoid emergency tree removal is through strategic professional trimming. Not just making it look pretty, but like maintaining its structural integrity.
Yes. Think about the intense environmental stresses in a place like Southern California.
Like the heat.
Heat, yes, but also the heavy, high-speed Santa Ana winds are a perfect example.
Oh, right, the winds.
If a mature tree has a dense, overgrown, unmaintained canopy, it acts exactly like the sail on a ship.
Oh, I never thought of it that way.
Yeah. When a 60-mile-per-hour wind hits that dense wall of leaves, it traps the air and the moisture.
Oh.
That creates immense kinetic pressure, and all of that torque transfers straight down the solid trunk to the fulcrum point, which is the root system.
Oh, wow. So the top of the tree acts like a massive lever against its own roots.
Exactly. That massive leverage is what leads to catastrophic structural failure and uprooting.
But the solution isn't to just walk out there with a chainsaw and start hacking off branches randomly, right?
Well, please don't do that.
Right. There are scientifically backed pruning techniques, specifically something this source is called crown thinning.
Crown thinning is a highly precise technique where arborists selectively remove specific branches throughout the canopy to reduce its overall density, but without changing the shape of the tree.
Okay, so it still looks the same, just less dense.
Right. By thinning the crown, you are essentially turning that solid sail into a filter. It allows those heavy Santa Ana winds to pass safely through the canopy rather than pushing aggressively against it.
Which drastically reduces the aerodynamic wind load on the trunk and roots.
Yes. Furthermore, making precise, clean cuts prevents the fungal infections and internal rot that almost always occur when homeowners try to hack off heavy branches themselves with dull equipment.
And proper maintenance actually prevents huge financial losses down the line. If a neglected tree drops a massive branch on your roof and the insurance adjuster comes out and determines the tree was clearly dead or unmaintained for years,
Yeah, they can actually refuse to cover the structural repairs.
they'll just cite it as homeowner negligence. So what are the early structural warning signs? What should property owners be actively looking for before gravity makes the decision for them?
Vigilant visual monitoring is your best defense. You want to look at the geometry of the tree. Any sudden leaning of the trunk is an immediate red flag indicating critical root failure underground.
Okay, sudden leaning. What else?
Watch the ground itself. Look for soil heaving or cracking around the base of the tree.
Meaning the roots are pulling up.
Exactly. It means the roots are literally tearing up out of the earth under tension. Also, look for deep vertical cracks running up the trunk, which means the weight-bearing fibers are splitting.
Oh, that sounds bad.
It is. Also, hollow cavities or widespread fungal growth, like mushrooms sprouting directly on the bark, are massive indicators of severe internal decay.
Wow.
If you see any of these structural signs, you need a professional assessment immediately.
So what does this all mean for you? Let's bring everything we've talked about together today. The big aha moment for you is this. A leftover stump isn't just an ugly wooden rock sitting quietly in your grass.
Not at all.
It is an active liability. It's a biological magnet actively drawing termites toward your house. It's an underground highway for fungal diseases. It's a mechanical danger to your mower and a literal roadblock to maximizing your property's value.
Very well summarized.
Right. Ignoring it is basically rolling the dice with your landscaping, your safety, and your wallet.
Mm.
But the really good news is that with precise, specialized machinery targeting the root collar, you can neutralize all of those threats in a matter of hours, preserve your surrounding landscape, and mechanically transform a hazard into a massive pile of premium, drought-busting mulch.
It really is a fascinating transformation from a severe liability to a vital resource.
It really is.
And as we wrap up today's deep dive, I want to leave you with a final thought to mull over, building on that underground ecology we discussed.
Okay, let's hear it.
We learned today that microscopic soil diseases like root rot can travel from a dead stump through the subterranean root system to directly infect healthy trees nearby.
Right, the fungal highway.
Exactly. It reveals just how incredibly interwoven the soil beneath our feet really is. It makes you wonder if these underground root networks are so highly connected that they can pass along a disease from a dead tree to a living one. What else are the mature trees in your neighborhood secretly communicating and sharing with each other right under your feet at this very moment?